Good evening and good to have you with us in the 9 p.m. edition of the Urban Debate. Putting the spotlight now on the other big talking point, Tamil Nadu politics. And today what we witness is perhaps the beginning of the next round of legacy war over Jayalalitha. There was one in the months after her demise, after she died, a big political fight within the party which seemed to be completely splitting and being stretched into multiple ways. And there is another one that's begun now in the run-up to the state elections. Now, why is this happening? Because Sasikala is out of jail. She's also out of hospital after having been infected with COVID. She's all set to return to Tamil Nadu. Now, one would obviously assume that she would like to go first up to the Jayalalitha Memorial. But just before that, the government has now announced, and the Chief Minister has announced, that the Jaya Memorial is closed for repair works. And that obviously has become a big controversy. It is now a fight over Jayalalitha's legacy. Are the true rightful heirs Sasikala and her nephew TTV Dinakaran? Are the true rightful heirs Paneer Selvam and Palaniswamy, the current Chief Minister? Or is it nobody? And do these factions need to move on and really look at the welfare of the people? Well, let's ask our panelists which way they see this going. This is not the first time this kind of legacy war has started. And in fact, when Jayalalitha herself came into her own being and really took charge of this party, it meant fighting over MGR's legacy, fighting over her mentor, MG Ramachandran, former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's legacy. Now life has come a full circle. But who does this benefit? Who will win this legacy war? And with Sasikala back, who does that benefit? Is it the rivals? Or could it be AIADMK? Let's say good evening to Mr. V.A. Pugayandi, spokesperson of AIADMK, M. Bharat, associate editor for News Today, T.M. Veera Raghav, senior journalist, Sriram Sheshadri, political analyst, and Mr. Rajashekharan, founder voice of TN and an advocate, joining us this evening. Good to have all of you with us. Mr. Pugayandi, I want to go first to you. Suddenly, why at this time we've decided to shut down the memorial for repair?
Good evening. See, the past 3 years, 3.5 years, that continuously planned and the construction is going on, everything completion, then inauguration was over, you know very well. Our Honorable Chief Minister inaugurated this. But that is not the reason. But you are saying that because Sasikala came out from the prison, because of that reason, we have closed that memorial.
No, I'm not saying. I'm only asking you why now.
No. That is the talk. Yes, that is the talk of the town. You are correct. I'm not denying that. That still some work is pending, madam, from the PWD department. That works to be completed. That is the purpose. Temporarily we closed it. That if anyone demands or something wants to go there, very important means the government will consider that. What is the problem? So themselves they are talking something that is not correct. So that is not the purpose also, because the completion work is still pending. So it takes some time to complete. That's all, nothing else. That is no other reason. Because the Sasikala still not opened the mouth and not given any opinion. Now only she came out. He has struggled a lot, the COVID-19 positive, everything. Just came out. Okay, let her tell his opinion, what she is going to do. Nobody knows. That is the main, my opinion is, let her open the mouth. Then we will come to know what she is idea. According to, we will react that. That is the thing. But another thing is, you mentioned TTV Dinakaran. I was with him. But that is not the force. We have lost deposit wherever contested all the 39 Lok Sabha constituencies, 22 assembly by-elections, all they lost the deposit. So where is he? Nobody knows. 4 years absconding like that. Now only he came out after Sasigala comes out. This is the thing going on. So this government is good for public. The legacy or MGR or our beloved leader Amma. So we are only the ADMK is Amma, Amma is ADMK, MGR is ADMK, ADMK is MGR. This is the role. So people only realize and vote for only ADMK because of MGR and Amma. Today ruling, we did lot of work now. So you know that is the works the election manifesto.
But next to Amma in all of those years was also Chinnamma. And she's back now, Mr. Pugayendi, and that's the question I'm asking. What is that making the AIADMK nervous? Let's in fact, let me take this question across to our other guests as well. Mr. Seshadri, I want to start off with you. How do you see this playing out now?
Okay, this is not new to ADMK. When Mr. M.G. Ramachandran passed away and Jayalalitha also lost out in that legacy, and she fought back and then came. So I see ADMK as a cadre's party. So whichever leader has the support of the cadre, that person will actually take over the legacy of Ms. Jayalalitha. Okay, at this point in time, I see that as at least not Ms. Sasigala, because when Sasigala wanted to take over the power and then become the chief minister after in February 2017, I believe. That time the cadre spoke very vocally and then said, they did not want Sasigala to be the leader in various other ways, like, through OPS and, other actions. And subsequently, when the General Council came about with dual leadership and the General Council endorsed it, I think, in my opinion, if Ms. Sasigala has to be the legacy of Ms. Jayalalitha, then the cadres have to accept. And that, in my opinion, is not yet there. And probably, but Ms. Sasigala will stake this claim because she has to find out where the cadre stays or where the rest of the leaders in ADMK stays. One more example with when Mr. M.G. Ramachandran passed away, same way the leaders were with Janaki Ramachandran, who was M.G. Ramachandran's wife, whereas the cadres remained with or rather supported Ms. Jayalalitha. So that way I see ADMK is not like DMK where it is a family-run business. So I see that, the cadres will speak out. If Ms. Sasigala were to stake the claim of Jayalalitha's legacy, then the cadres will speak out and then, and in my opinion, if Ms. Sasigala is trying to derail ADMK now before the election for whatever reasons, then it is going to be a bit of an upset for the cadres because, ADMK was created primarily to defeat DMK. And if Ms. Sasigala is going to create any problem amongst this, party, this is going to give the victory to DMK on a platter. In fact, now it is still a 50-50 chance the DMK may not form the government on their own. But if Sasigala stops trying to derail this party, then DMK will win hands down very comfortably. And that way, cadres will speak out very vocally if Ms. Sasigala tries to derail.
If at any point there is infighting within a party and confusion within the cadre, it is the other side that usually does end up benefiting if that happens. Veera Raghav, good evening to you. How would you read this situation? Is there merit to saying that perhaps if Sasigala wants, she can pull some of the cadre towards her?
2-3 points here is that definitely if Sasigala is going to stake the claim for leadership within the AIADMK or at least a role within the AIADMK, there is bound to be a section of the cadre which would be divided within the party. Plus, there is a caste angle. You've seen that Edappadi Palanichami seems to have focused on the Kaundar caste in the western Tamil Nadu areas. Sasigala belongs to the Tevar caste, which comes from the southern areas, though O. Paneerselvam is from the same caste. So there will be questions that will be raised. And I think there is a Sasigala loyalist within the party who will be seeing how it works out. But having said that, Tanvi, I think you need to remember that Sasigala also has pressures from the central government that she might have to face. I mean, I believe the Enforcement Directorate case is pending. There are questions that will be raised. So I think she will also go about it very carefully in terms of how she's going to maneuver herself in Tamil Nadu politics. It's not clear how this is going to play out. Definitely, the DMK is on an extremely strong wicket at the moment, with or without a breakup within the AIDMK. Is she going to openly challenge? It seems so far that she is going to openly challenge the AIDMK leadership even before the elections. Definitely, there is going to be a fight for the legacy post the election results. But is she going to do it before the elections? Can they avert such a confrontation publicly before the elections and try and keep all the factions together and try and retain some semblance of the two leaves vote? That will be the real challenge before the BJP and the AIDMK. And I make it very clear, the BJP and the AIDMK, because much of the fact that the AIDMK hasn't imploded is because of support of the central government, is how political observers would see. So it'll be interesting to watch out. She seems like she is going to make a challenge, but let's see how this plays out in the coming days.
Yes, because I mean the fact that she displayed the AIADMK party flag in that car has obviously added a lot of fuel to this fire and to the speculation, Veera Raghav. I mean, if the intent is to do it later, she probably wouldn't have used that. What's your reading?
Well, I think Tanvi, everyone bargains as well before election time.
Yeah.
We don't know how this will play out. Sometimes there is a statement that's put out to see what reaction you will receive from the other side. As far as Sashikala is concerned, she, look, ultimately Edapadi Palanichami was chosen by the Sashikala camp for the chief minister's post. If you remember how things played out when, soon after the demise of J. Jayalalitha. So there will be questions that will be raised within the AIDMK. The AIDMK is a cadre-based party which believes in loyalty. And the questions will be raised. The cadre has seen how it's played out. The reason why it's not imploded so far and it's not come out so far is primarily because if there was a challenge to the leadership within the party, everyone would have lost power. And I think it was the desire to stay in power and see the course, and the fact that the BJP backed the EPS regime in Tamil Nadu, which has held the party together.
Yes.
Now, once the term of the government is over, then everything is up for grabs. And I think there will be several challengers for the role. I mean, look at how TTV Dinakaran initially challenged in the RK Nagar seat.
Correct.
Election and later backed out. I mean, one may say that TTV Dinakaran hasn't done much, but maybe he wasn't, he didn't have, there were several pressures on him from Delhi. There were cases that were pulled up against him. And, I think there were several pressures which kept the AIDMK together until now.
Well, there are so many. There are so many layers and so many forces at work in politics in our country. It's really very, very interesting how it plays out. And like Veera is saying, it's too soon to say which way it will go, not just for what happens within AIADMK, but even outside of that. But Mr. Rajashekharan, what is your own view? Mr. O. Paneerselvam and Palaniswamy, both are the ones who at some point betrayed Sasikala and came together. Now, is it likely that one of them looks at the option of joining hands with her again?
Tanvi, I totally concede with Veera Raghav, and I want to make some very important points recapping it again. See, 35 years of travel along with J. Jayalalitha. Sasikala definitely has a say in the party. 90% of the ADMK members are handpicked, selected, nominated, and appointed by Sasikala. Whether anybody likes or not, that is the truth. And people like, who don't want DMK to win these elections will say Sasikala should be taken in and she should be respected, because you need a united ADMK to fight the might of DMK, because they are on a very strong wicket, as rightly pointed out. But fact of the matter is, it was BJP, the central BJP, which had the magic wand with them, and they did everything to make this government run for last 4 years. And again, if the BJP wants to do something against DMK and support ADMK, again they will use another trick. But people talking that Shashikala is nothing, she did that, cadre are against Shashikala, all this is nonsense and rubbish. And nobody will agree that, because Shashikala was the person. I am no spokesperson for anybody, but Shashikala was the person who had promoted all these riffraffs to be somebody today. I am openly saying. But this biased mindset people in the garb of saying that they are very neutral and they speak only truth. What rubbish, I don't understand. They said Shashikala is nobody. Who said? Shashikala is everything in ADMK. He has everybody. You just see, if the government goes, if the model code of conduct is announced, you see how many, lakhs of people rallying behind Shashikala. This will happen. I'm no fan of Shashikala. I'll make it very clear. I have no connection. I have neither met her or nothing. But you see, Tamil culture, if you go and eat in somebody's house, you will be grateful for that food which we eat. That is, in Tamil we say, சாப்பிட்ட இடத்துக்கு நன்றியா இருக்கணும். So that is what உப்பிட்டவரை உள்ளளவு உண்ணனை. So Shashikala has promoted so many people, so many thousands of people, and definitely that gratitude will be there at the bottom of the heart is somewhere. 1%, not like this ungrateful people who are talking nonsense on the TV channels saying that Shashikala is nothing, Shashikala is this, Shashikala is that. All rubbish. Don't take all those words. You just wait and watch. After the MCC is announced, you just see what is going to happen. It is going to be upside down.
Okay.
I totally agree
so,
with you.
Mr. Rajashekaran, I get the point that you're making, and it's an interesting point. And before I get Bharat in, Bharat, I will come to you.
People sit on channels and they preach what they are interested, because they are all armchair commentators. They know nothing about ground reality.
Let's not comment about other people. We are all here for our own views and our own expertise, which is why I have a panel of different kinds of experts. Mr. Rajashekaran, I got your view. Let me take it across and see if Mr. Pugayandi wants to respond to it. Let AIADMK first respond to that, and then I will go to Bharat. Okay, we're going to connect with him in just a bit. Bharat, let's get your view in. You've heard everybody else.
I'm really shocked and surprised at people glorifying Shashikala. Mind you, she has been convicted. She had served sentence and she is coming.
Along with that, mind you, Jayalalitha was A1.
Okay. One minute, please. 1 minute. Rajashekaran, you've made your point. Rajashekaran, you've made your point. You know that. No yelling on this show, please. No overlapping. I just want to hear M. Bharat. He's very patiently heard everybody out. I just want to hear his answer now. Yes.
Can I speak? Can I?
Yes, please go ahead.
See, mind you, Shashikala is somebody who's convicted. And the major point this election is they have raised the 2G issue which is not, it's still in trial. So if Shashikala, somebody who's convicted, is going to come, imagine what consequences it is going to make, and it is going to be a dent for ADMK. One. And secondly, I'll tell you very clear, Shashikala, as Virag was saying, ED, the Binami case, and a lot of things are happening, that which Shashikala very clearly knows what happening. There may be people whom Shashikala handpicked, but what happened in the last 4 years, even TTV Dinakaran, after winning RK Nagar elections, almost gave up. See, he was the media projected him as the biggest challenge for AIADMK in the do or die assembly by polls. He lost badly. Then talk about parliament elections, he couldn't muster the votes from AIADMK camp. He fared very badly. Even Pugayandi might be remembering it on April 19, 2019. When they elected TTV Dinakaran as General Secretary of Amma Munnetra Kazhagam, Amma Makkal Munnetra Kazhagam, they very clearly said Shashikala, when she returns from the prison, will be made the president of that particular party. No mention was made about AIADMK, claiming AIADMK. But what happened? In the run-up, in the last 2 years, AIADMK fared so badly, the cadres gave up. Nobody supported in the polls. Now they fear their political survival. Now they're taking claim for AIADMK. That's very simple. So this is the logic here. And as far as EPS and OPS are concerned, they have consolidated their position here a bit clearly. And mind you, with elections round the corner, obviously there will be a clamor for party tickets. There will be a clamor for other things. So obviously, I don't feel the major chunk is going to go and support Shashikala, but there will be an embarrassment for those who have been handpicked by Shashikala. That's a different case. But if you ask me as a journalist, I can only tell you one thing very clearly. Shashikala will play a wait and watch game. Maybe she's expecting AIADMK to fare badly in the elections. After the elections are over, might be she'll raise her voice, try to stake claim, share the spoils, maybe that's the best wise thing that is available to her. Other than that, as far as this election fortune is concerned, she can't go and ally with AIDMK now. Neither she can go with DMK. And if she goes to Kamala Hassan, one major thing with her is they should accept Kamala Hassan as chief minister. One, and two, Kamala Hassan's core principle is fight against corruption. And if they are going to contest the elections separate, imagine what happened to them in the last elections. They fared
No,
very
okay.
badly.
So I understand the point that you're making, that there is still many cases that are being investigated. There is always that the sword hanging for ED, for CBI, and whatever. But outside of that possibility and how that may play out, Veera Raghav, we can't really say that because she is tainted or she is convicted of corruption, it's a problem. That's not a problem in most of our country states.
Look, as per section, it's not a problem for perception, but there is a problem in the law.
Yes.
As per section 8.3 of the Representation of People's Act, she cannot contest for 6 more years.
Correct.
All right. Now, if you cannot contest for 6 more years, which means that you cannot contest this election, you cannot contest the next election. All right. 5 years is when you have the next election. Correct? So there is a huge problem there when it comes to Sashikala reasserting herself and emerging as a major challenger. Having said that, I think in terms of narrative within the AIDMK, Sashikala does have her loyalists within the party. Irrespective of what anyone says, EPS and OPS are there primarily because they have held on to the power with the help of the central government. The day they are out of power, they do not have a mass support or base within the party to hold its realms. This is a party which has always had charismatic leaders. It will be in the quest for a charismatic leader. I don't know who's going to fill it. And as I said, the question really in front of us is very limited. Is she going to challenge and split the AIDMK vote before the elections, which could mean a complete disaster for the party? Or are we going to see the leadership challenge within the AIDMK and a battle for succession post the elections? That's really the question. Bharat is right that I think TTV Dinakaran, everyone realizes the power is not the AIDMK, the power is the two leaves symbol. As Jayalalitha herself realized long ago in her battle with Janaki Ramachandran. The power is the two-leaf symbol, and that's the two-leaf symbol that evokes the emotion at the grassroots. If you go and work in the grassroots with the AIDMK cadres, you will see all of them have two-leaf symbol tattooed in their hands. It would be an MGR photo and a two-leaf symbol. But the two-leaf symbol is the identity that exists at the grassroots as the challenger to the rising sun. Now, whoever gets that two-leaf symbol will build their base from there on. All right? Now, who's going to get that two-leaf symbol is a question post the elections. For the moment, the only question is that once she returns into Tamil Nadu after her COVID quarantine, is she going to challenge the leadership within the party? I think the party leadership, EPS and OPS, are extremely insecure about that. Will the BJP allow that to happen before the elections? And if not, what would Sashikala's game plan be? You remember what the Tughlaq editor had said, Gurumurthy had said, that, he likened Sashikala to saying that, look, at some cases, I think even gutter water can be allowed to mix to defeat this one. They're likening her to gutter water. I don't think these comments are going to be taken lightly.
Yeah.
At the same time, she will have to play a calibrated game. We will have to see how this plays out in the next coming days. There is no certainty to how this script is going to
So, one point that you made was exactly what I was going to raise next and ask Mr. Sriram Seshadri. How should BJP approach this? Now they have announced the alliance with AIADMK. It's pretty much final. How do they approach this situation?
Okay. Number one, BJP announced, Mr. JP Nadda announced that they are with ADMK last week. So definitely a unified ADMK is what BJP would be willing to keep for the elections. And they wouldn't like this to be derailed by anybody, including Ms. Sashikala. So that way and remember, just not the cases of Sashikala, even TTV Dinakaran has a Damascus sword hanging on his top of his head, a bribery of election commission, which is a much more serious and provable, probably provable also, or at least, he can be arrested very quickly. So I think all these will play into their BJP will use to keep at least till the election is over keep Sashikala and PTV Dinagaran away from challenging the leadership and then not divide the party. So there definitely Ms. Sashikala is going to stake a claim, but this is more of, I think she will soften up in between, either by the time she reaches Chennai or afterwards she will soften up, or she will be made to take a softer role, and at least she may play a much better role in the backside of the scene, approving who are going to be the electors and all those stuff. But in my opinion, BJP will come heavily. Okay, having said that, for BJP, 2021 is a no loss everything to gain election. Even if they lose how many ever seats that are being given to them, it is a no loss everything to gain election, because post 2021, whichever party loses badly, that Karagam is not going to exist, or it is going to disintegrate. And BJP would be waiting for that to happen. So I think BJP will try its best to make a dent into not allow DMK to form the government, or at least make DMK not not achieve their own simple majority, but UPA as such, DMK combined as such, will definitely has an edge, like Veera Raghav said, it has much better edge to win the elections. And BJP will try its best to hold the ADMK together, including to the extent accommodating, probably like what happened in Bihar with Chirag Paswan, accommodating AMMK as a component within their electoral alliance. They may go to that. Anything can happen in politics. Any innovative or crazy things can happen in politics to keep the unity of the ADMK. I think that is what BJP would try, in my opinion.
Oh, that's an interesting point that you've made. But let me, if I can just go back to Mr. Pugayendi. We lost the line with him in between. But Mr. Pugayendi, there is a larger consensus here that whether before or after the election, there will be a role played by Sasikala. Please respond to that.
I don't think, madam, because that without the Sasikala supports, that we all for the election on the way calendar of events. So we proved that without the supports of Sasikala and Dinagaran, I have told already. So here it is not necessary. That is the last time, 1 week before, the Chief Minister came to Delhi and reported very clearly. So no question of merger or something. There no force from Dinagaran side. So we are all waiting. Let her a few days. Let her tell what she is going to do. We want the gentleman told everything is correct, because they are facing other cases also. The CCB case pending against Dinagaran, the bribe case, then another ED case pending against her. So many problems are there. These things are going on.
All those cases were there, Mr. Pugayendi, even earlier. Even earlier, during when Shashikala and Ms. Jayalalitha were there in the party and leading the party, these problems were there.
Tanvi.
Okay, we've lost the line with him. Yes, Veera Raghav wanted to make a point.
Tanvi, the interesting thing is cases are always there, but they come up during election time.
Correct.
That's the beauty of Indian politics. The cases don't matter until election comes up, and whether a person is useful or not in that election will determine which way the cases go. And having said, and number 2 point, my own gut feeling, and this is purely my gut feeling, obviously I don't have evidence to prove it, I think the BJP has thrown in the towel as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned. They've realized their game is not going to work in Tamil Nadu. I think deep down the party is going to be focused on West Bengal and other states and not in Tamil Nadu. This is my gut feel. And I think the AIDMK deep down also realizes that it's in a very weak position.
Okay, Bharat has to add to that, yes.
Yeah, one major development that just happened in the last half an hour to 45 minutes, I would call, is the Karnataka AIDMK state secretary has went and met Shashikala, it seems, and he has been chucked out of the party. The OPS and EPS together have released a statement saying that he is dismissed from the primary membership of the party. And mind you, this is not going to end. This is going to continue in the few more days, because many of them were appointed by.
You are wrongly reporting.
And,
Wrongly reporting kind information.
Point is, we just got a presser from AIDMK with their signature. So the point is, this will continue. There will be embarrassments. But the point I want to make at the end of the day is, Sasikala, there will be only a section, very few section from the AIDMK will go meet, all these things will happen. But as far as Sasikala's major base is concerned, I don't think there is a big clamor across Tamil Nadu for Sasikala, and there is no big crowd that is waiting for Sasikala to come. See, there is no point of evoking sympathy, or there is a mass appeal from either Sasikala or Dinakaran. But at the maximum, what they can do is a perception battle can be fought in Tamil Nadu. A perception war claiming such Jayalalitha's legacy, that is ultimately that can happen, which may dent AIDMK's vote bank at very few places, not at all. And mind you, they are fighting an anti-incumbency thing is there for AIDMK. And mind you, add on to that is BJP. So this is going to be a tough walk for them. But I don't think Sasikala will be the major challenge for them in their political battle. That I will not take it up.
Okay. Mr. Pugayendi wanted to respond to the latest development that Bharat was just telling us. Problem already beginning with your team members in Karnataka.
Madam, the one thing very important that for past so many months, I think that Rajinikanth, superstar everywhere. What has happened finally?
Bharat.
Finally, what has happened?
No, it is Bharat
All
only.
that,
So whatever Bharat says is pinch of salt.
Next is, now our Rajinikanth is over. Now they are talking about Sasikala. That wait and see. Nothing will happen here. There is no force. We will wait and see. They have lost the case before the Election Commission of India, High Court, Supreme Court, review petition dismissed. So this all are every day one trend. They are talking about that. No, nothing will happen. We will continue. This government will continue after the election also. We will win.
Yes, Mr. Rajashekharan, do you agree that too much is being played up as far as Sasikala is concerned? Because you were saying that one way or the other she will play a role.
Tanvi, see, the problem with the people in the panel, they have got some aversion towards Sasikala. No wrong. They have the right to be against Sasikala, an individual. No wrong in it. So I am no fan of Sasikala. But let us be honest. As Veera Raghav said, you cannot just straight away discount what all Sasikala has done in the past. She has never spoke anything wrong about anybody whom she had promoted, including Pugayendi. She has never spoken wrong about EPS, Edapadi, who was handpicked by Sasikala. See, all this has to be taken into account. You should be, honest when you make comments. Because for political gains and cheap mileage, you can say whatever you want. But my gut feel says, all this story about Sasikala will not wait for many days. 7 she is expected, and many ministers. See, she has got a strong vote base in Mukkulatur community, and she has got a strong vote base among the Dalits of within AIDMK. And there may be some leaders who are opposing her strongly, vehemently. I don't say no. There are Jay Kumar, Edapadi himself now opposing, and others, Manoj Pandey, and all these people. Apart from that, she has the sympathy factor. She has been arrested, convicted for case not directly on her. It was on Jayalalitha, who was the Chief Minister, disproportionate asserts case, Prevention of Corruption Act, and she was convicted along with their baby. Nobody is clean. Nobody is honest. Nobody is 100% pure in politics, be it AIDMK or DMK. All have committed the offense of corruption, and they have taken looted the exchequer and taxpayers' money for several other areas in their ministry also. But there is no case against them as on date. But we cannot rule out the future, what is going to happen to them who have committed an offense. So nobody is honest. No politician in Tamil
Mr.
Nadu is
Rajashekharan, you
honest.
keep saying that you have no, Mr. Rajashekharan, I know you keep saying that you don't have any interest in backing Sasikala, but you also keep saying that you see the merit in people who would want to. Why? She's convicted of corruption. She's convicted of corruption, Mr. Rajashekharan, and there is much more that I can add to that, but I am sure all of you know more than me about it.
No, Tanvi, there are two
I
very...
tell something to Rajashekharan.
Okay, one at a time. Let Rajashekharan answer this, and then Veera Raghav, I'm coming to you. Yes. Yeah.
So 2016, there was Makkal Nala Kutini where I was part of it. We went hammer and tongue throughout Tamil Nadu saying that ADMK and DMK are corrupt. So don't vote for them. It was Vaiko, Thirumavalavan, CPI, CPM and everybody, like-minded, honest, good citizens joined that Makkal Nala Kutini to support a new venture before the people. But people rejected it. People gave 6% vote. So corruption, scams, cases is not going to make any impact in the minds of the common man and the voters down south and central Tamil Nadu and even north Tamil Nadu. So there are cases against even PMK leader. He has got a medical college scam case. CBI case is pending. So they are joining hands with ADMK. So all this is very common in Tamil Nadu.
I am not facing any cases. Rajasekaran, are you facing any cases? The cases pending against you, Rajasekaran? You tell me. I am not facing any cases. The kind information you are saying. Everyone is corruption.
Not an MLA. I am talking about ministers and MLAs, MPs, and whoever, what all. You are not an MLA, Pugalandhi. Don't forget. You and me are ordinary people.
Okay. Veera Raghav wanted to make a point, and so did Bharat. Veera Raghav first. Yeah.
I'm just very quickly making a point. There's no point in this conversation. We know very well that corruption doesn't matter. The fact that Jayalalitha herself was convicted and came back to win 2 terms as Chief Minister repeatedly. So forget corruption. There are 2 narratives within the AIDMK which started off after Jayalalitha passed away. One narrative was the anti-Sashikala narrative, which was a whisper campaign saying that she was responsible for the death of J. Jayalalitha. The second, the counter narrative to that, was the narrative that she is the only one who is suffering, who went with J. Jayalalitha inside prison and has stood for all the, has really taken the legacy and has suffered for what happened during J. Jayalalitha's time, right? So these were the 2 narratives. One is pro-Sashikala, the other is against Sashikala. And this is where the bottom line within the AIDMK is. Trust me, the 2 leaves are 2 separate leaves at the moment. There will be a battle for who's going to get those 2 leaves together. And in the midst of this, the photosynthesis is going to allow the rising sun to bloom.
Okay. Very interesting point made. Bharat, what is your view? Which of those 2 versions are actually going to play out stronger? Will the sympathy card work better?
No, as of now, it's very clear. EPS and OPS campaign is noses ahead. See, we don't know what Sasikala is going to say because she hasn't spoken in public after she was discharged from hospital. We are hearing Dinakaran's version. We are hearing versions from various people. What is in her mind? She has to come down to Chennai. She has to meet the press or maybe issue a statement or talk to people close to her. Unless and until she opens her mouth, it is going to be a speculation. We will perceive things and we will continue to harp on an issue. But the point is, as of now, see, ADMK, BJP has stitched an alliance with AIDMK. Amit Shah has endorsed it. Mind you, JP Nadda has also said so. In principle, technically, this is the ADMK that is going to contest the election. Even if Sashikala is going to come, make a claim. Mind you, just 2.5 months, 2 months left for the elections to go. And EPS, if you look at it in a micro level, he has managed to find his space within the party now. They have accepted him as chief ministerial candidate. So maybe for another 60 days, these Natanki will continue. Maybe this Nautanki will continue for another 60 days, and after the results, if ADMK is going to win, hands down, it is end of Sashikala. Mind you, EPS will be the sole single leader after J. Jayalalitha within AIDMK. And if there is going to be a big loss or a big death, then there will be these Sashikalas, Dinakarans, Divakarans, Sudhakarans, all these names will be heard only after ADMK is going to lose the election. So this is going to be a do-or-die battle for EPS and OPS with Sashikala coming into Tamil Nadu. So they will give their, potentially they'll give their best. They will use all their forces to do a better show. Even if they lose, they should put up a better show to show that they are here to survive and they are there to run the party.
So, okay, I will again ask this question, and Mr. Sriram Seshadri, maybe you can come in with the 2 leaf symbol and the work they may or may not have done in the last few years while Shashikala was in jail. Can Palaniswamy and O. Pannirselvam really pull in the numbers and take on Sasikala?
Okay, I'll answer it in 2 ways. Number one, what is, like Bharat said, so far Ms. Sasikala has not spoken. So how she will speak is on returning to Chennai. One is going to the memorial, which is now closed, but another is walking into ADMK office. If she does that, then she is taking EPS, OPS head on even before the election. So that will give us some sort of an indication whether she is going to take head on. But having said that, if she doesn't do that and then she waits and then waits for that, then there is definitely backroom parlay has already started happening, in my opinion. And once again, EPS, OPS need not even win the election, but EPS, OPS even pulls it to the level of 75, 80 seats victory, even to that level, then that is ADMK's success. That is EPS, OPS leadership's combined leadership success. And that is what will either determine post the election whether the disintegration is going to happen very badly and is taking off. That is so. These are the two guiding points that look at it as to whether Sashikala is going to take head on before the election, or if EPS OPS pulls up at least about 70-75 seats in the election with their leadership, then ADMK is for the big fight between Sashikala and EPS OPS. There is going to be a huge fight post the election. That is how I see it, Tanvi.
All right, I'm going to leave it here for now, but it's been a great conversation with all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll have many, many more as we get closer to the time for elections and for the voting to take place. Lot more will happen between now and then. We told you this, in fact, even a couple of months ago. One thing that got clearer was that Rajnikant's out of the race. He's not going to be fighting these elections. What will Kamal Haasan do is also a big question. Now comes Sashikala into the mix. BJP and AIADMK have joined their hands, and AIADMK essentially will be taking on the DMK that also has the backing of Congress. And then there are the smaller little parties who will also be taking decisions on which way they want to go. So expect a lot of action when it comes to elections in Tamil Nadu, and do keep joining us for all of those updates and insights into what's going on. Thank you for speaking with us and joining us on this special conversation.